Hello and welcome to another episode of The Wannabe Entrepreneur, the podcast about what's really like to bootstrap a company. My name is Tiago, and if you are a new listener, in these episodes, I basically narrate my journey, my own journey as an entrepreneur, as a bootstrapper. But if you go back to the first episodes, you'll find a completely different Tiago, a Tiago that had just quit his job and was trying a lot of different projects until he found some kind of success. And it's weird to speak about myself in the third person, but it's true. In the beginning of this year, I found success with my new kind of old now projects, which is called Pod Squeeze. I work together with my co-founder João, and we just reached 150k ARR. So that's annual recurrent revenue. But as always, things in the entrepreneurship world are not always roses and unicorns. No, we have a lot of ups and downs. And this week is a perfect example of a lot of things that went well and some things that did not go as expected. So get ready for a really honest episode. And to start things off, I want to take you back. I want to take you back to 2019 or 20, basically when we were in the pandemic and there was COVID everywhere. Back then, my sister, Ines, she had an idea. Her idea was to start her own podcast. So she was bored, she was at home, like everyone. It was basically mandatory for everyone to work from home, but normally her job requires her to be in person. So I guess she didn't have a lot of things to do, and she told me, Tiago, my wise older brother. Yes, that's how she mentions me, or not. Tiago, I want to start a podcast. And I told her, that's a great idea. You know, the reason why I said that is because I love creating content. You know, I've always been trying to make YouTube videos and podcasts and whatever, everything, you know, as well, projects like these ones. I love creating stuff. But her, even though she's funny and clever and creative, I've never seen any kind of projects where she would get out of her comfort zone. So I was super excited and I definitely motivated her to do it. I bought her a microphone and she started her first podcast. It was a Portuguese podcast and it was a kind of comedian podcast. She would question everything. The name of the podcast in Portuguese was called Porquê Inês, which translates to Why Inês. And she basically would speak about all her questions, like why are weddings the way they are, or why do people have this I don't know how to say, you know, when you need to knock on wood 3 times, otherwise the devil will come, like superstitions. Yes, that's it. So she started, and of course, I was really happy and I was listening to every episode. And to be honest, she has some talent for this. Really, like she would write down the script and everything, and the results were good. The results were really good, and I had fun. And of course, Tiago being Tiago, or again, me speaking in the third person about myself, but me being me, I wanted to participate. So I was always telling her, hey, can I join? Can I do a little, segment? And she's like, no, Tiago, this is my project. I was like, okay, fair enough. But one thing that happened that was really fun is that back when she was doing this, there was a festival. This festival was called Pods, which is the Portuguese festival for podcasting. And she told me about it because she was also she met a few people that were in the podcasting world here in Portugal. And I checked the website and saw there were multiple awards. So in this podcast festival, people get awarded based on their podcast. So there's multiple prizes. There's the award of technology, the award of politics, the award of science, everything. And there was one called the Public Award. And for that, for you to be a nominee, you need to be selected by the public. And that selection is based on how many upvotes you have. So she registered her podcast, Porquê Inês, and she told all of her friends, hey, come and just upvote my podcast so that I get a chance to win this award. But then I thought, wait, I am a developer. I can trick this, right? I mean, she has a few people listening, right? Maybe she'll get 50 upvotes, but she will never get, to the top 3 or top 5, which was what was required. So I thought, let me just inspect this website. And well, I just realized that there was no login necessary and it was actually quite easy to hack it. So I quickly generated a script that was constantly upvoting her podcast. To be honest, I don't really know how many upvotes I did. She was not very happy with it. She was like, Tiago, don't do this. I don't want to win this way. But it was too late. Tiago, being Tiago, had to run the script. I love scripts. Sorry, but I love scripts. So I don't know. In the end, maybe she had 30,000 upvotes and second place had like maybe 200. I don't know. She got nominated. Nominated? Is that how you say? Nominated? No, how do you say? Well, she got chosen. And because of that, she got the chance to go there to the ceremony to get, to see if she would get the prize. In the end, she didn't go. She told me, Tiago, no way I'm going because we cheated. And I understand. And that's it. I thought that was the end of pods because then the pandemic kind of finished and she went back to her job and she unfortunately stopped producing her podcast. So I thought, okay, that's the end of this little journey. But then I started my own podcast, as you know, this Wannabe Entrepreneur. And then I started a company for podcasters, PodSqueeze. And surprise, surprise, 2 years after that event, 2 years after I tricked the website to choose my sister's podcast, I am there delivering a prize. Yes. PodSqueeze sponsored the Pods Festival. To be honest, it's really an honor to me. It's really an honor. And I don't know, I was so happy when I was there delivering the prize, hanging out, having my logo everywhere. I just thought, wow, this is a bootstrapped company. I mean, everything came from you. Well, I guess from the users. I don't know if some of you are the users as well. And now we have the money to support this festival and to make a great experience for other podcasters. And that made me really, really happy. So in the end, the way this went was that we sponsored by organizing events and bringing food and bringing drinks. We actually didn't have to pay per se, but of course we had to pay. We paid with our time and we paid with the money that we invested in the food and everything. The event went really well. We had a networking event. So basically for 1 hour, all the podcasters were there. And I did this game where I said, hey, everyone, you have 5 minutes. Just, get in a group of 3-4 people and you need to introduce each other. And then in 5 minutes, I'll ring the alarm and you have to switch. And we did 3 rounds of this, worked really well. I think people were happy. We also did a workshop about PodSqueeze where we showed how people can use PodSqueeze in their production. It was really good. We also did a panel and we met a lot of interesting people. And in the end, we also met some, potential clients, which was really nice. I really love that, like big agencies. And we met our first influencer. Yes. There's a big difference. And, I've been in Podfest Berlin, which is a similar podcasting festival, but in Germany. And we have been here in Portugal. And of course, that when we play at home, it's a completely different game because people get excited. People get excited with the fact that 2 Portuguese dudes are competing in the world leagues, the world leagues of podcasting. And there's a lot of other tools. And people often say, it's like, yeah, okay, is it only you? I thought it was a big company because I guess the website looks good and looks like really, really professional. So they want to get to know us and they want to help. And that's amazing. So immediately we made some great contacts. And a big influencer here in Portugal, a radio influencer, someone that is in the field for more than 20 years, he was there in the podcasting festival and he approached us and he was really, really excited about our product. So I don't know. You probably have one of these celebrities in your country. If you are Portuguese, the celebrity's name is Alvin. So you definitely know him if you are from Portugal or you're living in Portugal, I guess. But yeah, just imagine a medium range celebrity in your country and imagine like having his or her number in your phone. I mean, it looks good. And to be honest, it's hard not to let it go a little bit to your ego. I don't know. I was feeling important. And especially because here in Portugal, I get to share this with my family and friends around. And even though for the business, I don't know if it will make a dent because most of our market is in the US, is in the UK. It's not in Portugal. Like very often, I would show this to people here in Portugal, be like, "This is amazing," but it's too expensive. That's always the same answer of a lot of people here in Portugal. Whereas in the US and other places, they don't blink. So yeah, I'm sure that most of our money will never come from Portugal, and we need to invest in other markets. But I don't know. It's nice. It feels nice to get some recognition. I mean, I'm kind of a little bit egocentric. As an entrepreneur, we all are a bit egocentric. We want to be in the center of everything. Yeah. So in the end, we also got to deliver a prize. We had the Pod Squeeze prize, the technology prize. So basically, 5 podcasts were nominated to get this prize, and we got to go there. And I did my kind of Oscars speech. Well, not the speech because I didn't get the prize, but the person that goes there introduces the nominees and everything. João and we got up and we did this, and I started. I don't know. I wanted to warm up the room, so I just went there. I went up the stairs and said like, "I think our host Marcio is doing a great job. Let's all clap our hands." I don't know. I love to be an MC. I just love this. Everyone clapped their hands. I said like I was honored to be there, and then João read the nominees, and then we announced the winner. And you know what was funny? Well, not funny, but I guess now in retrospect it was kind of funny. Was that we also gave, besides giving the trophy, we gave like a big check, like these checks that you give to people so that they can cash. You just won $1,000 or $10,000, and it's this big check. We gave one. We gave one, giving a 1 year free annual plan for Pod Squeeze. And the person that won, she got it, and she's like, oh, "Okay, cool. All right, thank you so much. Here's my speech." She spoke about her podcast, and then she just said, "By the way, if someone wants this prize, just come and get me after the show because I don't really need it." I was like, oh my God, like what the fuck? Why would someone say that? Like it's so ungrateful. I mean, I get it. Maybe you don't need it. She said she worked for a big publishing paper and a publishing journal, and she doesn't really need it because there's a team or whatever. But you don't do this. You don't get a prize and then you go in front of everyone and say like, "Hey, we don't need this." Like I would hate to be the secret Santa of this person. To be honest, like here's some socks. Oh, socks. Well, I don't need it. If someone needs socks, fucking gift. And I don't know. João and I were really pissed at this, but in the end, she came. She was really apologetic, whatever. It was not cool. It was not cool to do that. And I'm telling you right now, I don't know. She probably will never listen to this episode. But anyways, it happened, and I think it was a success. And in the end, I was very energized. I was like, wow, this is so cool, and I love this, and meeting people. And you know what is weird? The weird is that like, you might say, "Okay, Tiago, but you are super comfortable in your own skin and you can get comfortable speaking with people and everything." No, that's not true. That's not me. I get so nervous. Really, like when we were about to give the workshop, I was shaking. Like my voice was shaking, and when I need to meet people, I don't know. I have social anxiety. That's something that I think I spoke about it in the last episode as well. I realize I have social anxiety, but I'm an extrovert, so I get energy from this. And of course, that like anything, you can just train. So the more I do this kind of stuff, the more I get in these uncomfortable situations, the better I get at it. And so I was very energized. But João was the opposite. It was so tired. It was like, fuck, I hate this. I don't like this. And this starts kind of the line where we are very different. We are very similar in certain things and very different in others. And that sometimes can be good for business, sometimes can be bad for, relationships and co-founder relationships for sure. So what is said is that, I don't know, I was decided when I left that place, I was like, okay, we need to do this more. Like conferences, they work, and this is Portugal, so we need to go to the big places, to the US, the UK, and do a conference like this because we'll meet so many people. We will establish Pod Squeeze in the podcasting industry. But for my surprise, he didn't think that it was true. He said like, no, like where is the data? Like show me where are the users coming after this. I need to see it. And I was like, João, I don't know. I don't know, because it takes time. Of course, and it's true. We don't get a lot of users right away. We did get some people interested. We are in conversations with like big partners, and we have a lot of contacts. And we nailed Alvin. We made a partnership with Alvin, the influencer, and he will speak about us and everything. So yes, we can see things happening, things that are amazing, things that will never happen if it wasn't for this festival. But I cannot right away convert this to sales. So João says, okay, then we cannot invest in this. Like, if you cannot convert right away with sales, how can we measure? How do we know how much to invest? This can be really frustrating for me, because as a person that has lived from their network for so long, like my first job, I applied for it. Since then, I've never applied. I just connect with people and speak with them, and everything I've learned, even this podcast, right? Like connecting with people and speaking with them, I have learned this and I apply this in my projects, right? So I know that there's a huge benefit in networking. There's a huge benefit in going to these conferences, but I cannot put this in numbers. And that frustrates me, because João doesn't see like that, because he'd never, being I guess a little bit more introvert, he never really used the networking effect. He was really used to like, I'll do everything myself. So yeah, this is a huge conflict between us. It's a huge conflict, because we cannot transmit our message to each other because of our differences. And then what he says is that, okay, I am the marketer, is responsible for the marketing mostly. And I don't want to get too much into this. I don't want to bore you too much, but I'm more into the product, right? I'm more into building the product. He's more into doing the marketing and content and everything. But yeah, in the end, he just says, okay, but the reason why, and just for you to understand, as this is happening, PodSqueeze is not doing great. It's not. I mean, there are a few metrics that are going up, which is good, but like our MRR is kind of stagnating, borderline going down. Our churn rate is quite high. So yeah, there are some things that are not working. And I told him, like, I'm going to work on those. Like, I'm going to work on the churn. I'm going to work on those. But I don't know. I feel that he also doesn't trust me. I feel that it's like, yeah, you're not doing this job right. I need to intervene. I need to tell you like what to do. And that frustrates me, because that's my realm. Yeah, so that's, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to say. I don't know how to fix this at the moment. I think the positive side is that we just chat a lot with each other and we're very honest. Like, I think this is one of the most like honest relationships I have. Definitely professional, because every time like you are having a professional relationship with someone, you're always in your tippy toes, right? You're always like, you are good, but do this, or I'll try not to hurt your feelings. Like with Joe and I know, like sometimes I think, okay, I should tune it down a little bit, but we're like straight to the point. They'll be like, this is annoying me. You should do this and you should do that. And I think it does the same. And that's really good, because I can feel comfortable. And I think he also does feel comfortable to just share whatever is going on. So we just chat. We chat a lot. When we get frustrated, we need to take a break, I guess, sometimes to chill and think and meditate, whatever. But that gives me some hope, because that's how you solve problems. That's how you get to conclusions, is by chatting with each other and finding solutions. So yeah, that's the part that is not so fun about this week, which is, yeah, first of all, there are a few things with PodSqueeze that are not going great, and then João and I cannot really see eye to eye in certain topics of our business, and that's also frustrating because it keeps us from moving forward, right? Because then instead of being productive, instead of being working, we are just arguing and having this conflict. So yeah, it's not easy. At the same time, I've been feeling very overwhelmed with all the work that needs to be done, and I think I'm very good at like compartmentalizing things and prioritizing things. I'm really good at putting things in the back burner, and not ignoring them for now and focus on one thing. But when it starts to pile up so much, and when you kind of roll your eyes and try to imagine everything you need to do, and you're like, okay, there's so much stuff. with all the aspects of the business, I get overwhelmed and I feel that I cannot move forward. I freeze. And so I also get frustrated when he says that, like, the product is not moving forward because we're not working on it. And I was like, because there's just too much shit to do. So I guess that's the biggest issue of being also bootstrapper. We are not many and we don't have a team. And even though we are trying to hire some people as freelancers, we are always kind of counting the money, which is, again, a problem, in my opinion. Like, why are we counting the money so much? Let's just fucking invest it and not thinking too much about it. But at the same time, that's how people lose all of their money, right? So, I don't know. If you have any opinions or ideas, make sure to DM me at Twitter, WBTiago. To finish on a higher note, for the first time ever in the TV history in Portugal, the word indie hacker, I think, was presented on Portuguese TV, national TV. Well, not national TV, but like Portuguese TV. Yes, we had indie hacker being interviewed in a famous entrepreneurial related podcast that also kind of stars on television. There's video and everything. So there was his name and indie hacker, and it felt good. It felt good to see that our movement, the bootstrapping movement, the indie hacker movement that started on Twitter, and it seems quite small, it's kind of growing, and more entrepreneurs, VC entrepreneurs and everything are learning about indie hacking and bootstrapping and what does it mean to be to live that lifestyle. It's really cool because I think it's just a better way of doing entrepreneurship, right? It's more pure. It's more honest, and there's less of trying to take as much as you want from your users just to pay your bills and just to pay the VC or the investors. So that was really fun. At the same time, I was also interviewed for another Portuguese podcasting for the first time. I got to share with my family that maybe I'm not very comfortable in English what I do, and that also made me really happy. So let's end this episode with those two positive notes. And next week, hopefully, I will release my interview with Andrew Gazdecki, the founder of Acquire. I'm already editing it. It's taking a little bit more time, but it's a really good one, and I think you'll love it. And again, if you like this podcast, just send me a message. Today, I'm not going to ask you to share. I'm not going to ask you to do whatever. Send me a message. I will leave my email below, or you can just DM me on Twitter, WBTiago. That'll also be in the show notes of today's episode. Send me a message saying whatever, like what you like about it, what you don't like about it. If you have any questions relating indie hacking or bootstrapping, share about your project. Just say like, hey, this is my project, this is what I'm doing, this is my biggest challenge. Just share that, and I would love to just read it and maybe also like address it here in the next episode and say like, hey, so and so said this, and maybe I can help by doing so. I don't know. Just let's communicate, because I feel this is a very one-sided relationship and I want to hear from you. This was another episode of the Wannabe Entrepreneur podcast. See you next time.